3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne?
New Year's Day, a time for resolutions and a fresh hand dealt by fate. For fate's game is something we all take part in, and some of us are simply dealt a better hand than others.
How could this have happened?
However, even when the odds are stacked against you, winning is possible. As long as you can lie convincingly enough.
I'm telling you, it's not true, damn it!
But fate itself cannot be lied to, no matter the facades or false confidence.
There was nothing I could have done, I swear! It wasn't my fault!
Indeed, even after you've eliminated all those who oppose you from the table, fate will still keep calling your bluffs until the end.
No one can ever know about this. It would ruin everything.
And when you're forced into fate's final showdown, you either go all in or lose it all.
It's finally over. You've lost.
On the contrary, you of all people should know that House always wins.
And that's it for tonight's forecast. We hope all of you at home have a wonderful night and are looking forward to the new year.
So, my first year as a defense attorney is finally drawing to a close. And what a year it's been. I can hardly believe I took my first case only last April. I have to say, it's been a pretty wild ride ever since. From noodles and magic panties to murder and uncovering international smuggling operations. I never thought that working in the world of law would mean having a job this versatile.
Hey, Apollo! Are you done cleaning your half of the office? I can hear the TV from here, you know.
Uh-huh.
You know, Daddy's not going to like you slacking off just before the holidays.
Hey, I just finished, so I've earned my rest. Even if it took me all day, Mr. Wright really should hire a cleaner or something.
Last time we did that, half of my props almost ended up in the garbage. So it's up to us to make sure the office stays in tip-top shape.
And I'm sure Mr. Wright doesn't mind the free labor. I still think we should at least consider making the office a little less cluttered. I don't think it gives the best first impression to our prospective clients.
Don't be silly, Apollo. As Daddy always says, this small office becomes us. In other words, having all this stuff around is an integral part of the Wright Anything Agency's brand. It's the thing that makes us stand out.
Again, I'm not sure if the mystical floating spaghetti fork is the best way to stand out from the competition.
Anyway, since you're all done, you won't mind lending me a hand, right?
Hey! Mr. Wright was very clear about his each of you cleans half of the office policy. So I'm afraid you'll have to ask someone else to assist you in the Great Grime Disappearing Act.
Oh, come on, Polly. I'm almost done over here anyway. Besides, would you really refuse to help your boss's daughter in her time of need?
Oh, fine. But you'll owe me one, Trucy. Let's just wrap things up so we can get ready to enjoy the new year.
Speaking of which, got any plans for New Year's, Polly?
Nothing special. maybe I'll hit Aldun and stand for some soba. And possibly do some extra vocal training exercises. Can't let the cords of steel get rusty.
Lame. The new year is full of untold possibilities and you're just settling for some noodles? Try living a little.
Those happen to be some very good noodles to be settling for, thank you very much. Besides, I think I've more than filled my quota for excitement for the year.
To each their own, I guess.
What kind of wild New Year's adventures do you and Mr. Wright have planned then?
Well, Daddy said he'll be busy with something, and since I'm all done with my shows for the year, it looks like it's going to be just me and Mr. Hat. Haha! I will keep Trucy company, because Apollo is a lame soba slurper.
Subtle. You know, if you wanted to hang out with me on New Year's, all you had to do was ask.
Great! Then it's settled! Oh, we're gonna have a fantastic time! There's so many things we can do! I'll have to make a list! Or two!
Never a dull day here at the Write Anything Agency. If we're not working on a case, Trucy is sure to come up with something to keep us busy. Hang on, I thought we were closing the agency for the holidays. What is Mr. Wright doing on New Year's Eve?
Oh, you know, something to do with Daddy's side job.
Please don't tell me he's going to subject some poor souls to his piano playing.
No! His side job! Sheesh.
Ah, you meant playing poker.
Duh! Daddy told me that he's got a big game coming up, but he's been oddly vague about the details.
Huh. That does sound a bit unlike Mr. Wright. Anyway, I'd say the office is about as pristine as it can get. And just in the nick of time, too. Mr. Wright should be back any minute now.
Knock, knock.
Speak of the devil.
Welcome back, Daddy.
Good evening, Mr. Wright. Presenting one clean office, ready for your inspection.
Well, well. Looks like you two have kept yourselves busy. I can hardly recognize the place. Can't wait to see if the bathroom lives up to my high standards.
I sure hope so, considering all the time I spent scrubbing it. I'd say we're about ready to close for the holidays. Although, I heard you still have your work cut out for you, Mr. Wright. Trucy told me that you've got a big poker game coming up.
It seems my secret has been revealed. Guess I have no choice but to spill the beans now. It's true. I'm taking part in a poker tournament here in town. Who knows? Maybe I'll win us some grocery money.
Should I start preparing your legal defense in advance?
No worries. This tournament is completely legal.
Well, that's good to know. But it sure doesn't help that you've been awfully secretive about it.
Sorry about that, sweetheart. I've had my reasons.
It's fine. And if you do end up needing legal help, you can always pay Apollo with your winnings. Speaking of which, how much is the grand prize for this tournament anyway?
You know, $100 million.
Yeah, right. And I'm the president of Virginia.
Okay then, Mr. President. Please have a look at this.
Huh. You are cordially invited. Blah, blah, blah. Grand prize of $100 million? That can't be right! What kind of tournament can afford a prize like that?
Only one. The most high-profile international poker event on the planet. The Poker All-Stars Legends Tournament. And it's being held right here in Angeles Bay. 2 days from now, actually.
Daddy! How could you just keep this from us until now?
I didn't want to spoil the surprise. And I also wanted to see the looks on your faces. For the record, it was totally worth it.
Jeez, Daddy. A reveal like that would give any magician a run for their money. I've taught you well.
What can I say? I've learned from the best.
Congratulations, Mr. Wright! That's pretty awesome! But, it's not that I question your skill level, but how on earth did you manage to get invited to play in a world-class event like that?
Oh, I know a guy. He put in a good word for me.
Well, that just explains everything, doesn't it?
Lighten up, Apollo. I'm not finished yet. It says in the invitation letter that I'm allowed to bring over 2 guests to stay with me at the tournament venue, the luxurious Royal Flush Casino, right on the bank of the beautiful Angel River. And the best part? It's all expenses paid. So unless you two have any other plans for New Year's...
Oh, count me in!
Sure. Beat spending it at a noodle stand.
Great. Consider this your annual bonus, Apollo.
Hey, that's not fair!
Take it or leave.
Spending New Year's in the lap of luxury is gonna be great!
We'll celebrate New Year's together. But little did we know at the time that our holiday would come to an end much sooner than we had expected.
Here we are!
Wait a minute! That's Pinky Rabbit from the Pinky Rabbit Show! Oh, I used to watch it all the time as a kid!
Says the guy who barely recognized the character.
That's because of all—
Maybe even Pinky Rabbit needs a break from the kids every now and then. I sure can relate.
Why are you looking at me when you say that, Mr. Wright?
Now, hold it right there, partners.
Huh?
Just like you to John in here like you own the place, Nikki. Don't you know that you're supposed to check in with the sheriff beforehand?
Well, well, look who it is.
Welcome to the—
Oh, Mr. Porter! I didn't know you worked here.
My manners. Let me introduce myself to the new guy. I deal them faster than you can raise your hand to receive them, and claim your chips before you even have time to play.
At law. Nice to meet you, Mr. Porter.
Right back. Breaking my heart here, darling. She used to love that name, you know. Must be the teenage angst kicking in.
Oh, Mr. Porter has been coming to play poker with Daddy many times over the years, so he's become sort of like a family. Reconsider if you stop calling me Cece.
You drive a hard bargain, little miss. Guess I'll fold for the time being.
Much appreciated.
But just as Trucy here put it, it wasn't no Borston grape juice that we bonded over, but our love for the cards.
Nice place you got for us, Jack. I appreciate a chance to play in the tournament.
You're welcome, Nikki. Them card sharks won't know what hit them.
Sure. This was all pretty sudden, so I've got a few questions in mind.
Let's see if I can't help you out there, compadre.
Our state, it was a big issue in a case I had earlier this year.
Yeah, this casino here, and quite a profitable one at that. It also helps. Shouldn't you as a lawyer know this?
Well, I'll just plead the fifth on that.
Whatever lets you sleep at night, Apollo.
Apollo? Seriously? What am I, a chicken?
Justice here is a bit green, but he's got spirit. You should see him in action.
Well, if you should ever need a lawyer, you know who to call.
You'll be first on my list. Got more questions?
Can you tell me a bit more about the tournament that's coming up? I can't say I'm too familiar with the world of professional poker.
Well, it ain't just any tournament, Paulo. It's the tournament. The poker you could call Poker Legends. The gist of the tourney is simple. During the first round, all players go head where the winner takes all. The rest get zilch.
Nothing at all? I hope these people aren't sore losers. With a sum like that at stake, things are bound to get heated.
You'd be right about that. We've had some close calls over the years. A permanent ban to the casino and the tourney. And when you're a poker legend, just getting to play in the tournament with people on your level is a reward in and of itself. Have a copy of the rules.
You know me, Jack. I never play for the money either way.
Not to be rude, but does Mr. Wright really qualify as a poker legend? It feels like he's joining the tournament completely out of left field.
Apollo, you do remember I haven't lost a game in 7 years, right?
The lad's got a point, though. You ain't exactly a household name in the poker scene, Nicky. However, this year, the sponsors of the tournament wanted to spice things up by introducing some local talent to the mix. Something about how everyone loves to root for the underdog. And since they're footing the bill, we do what they say. And while I might have put in a good word for Nicky back when they were scouting for the underdog, he's still notorious.
I'll give it a fair shot. Who knows? Maybe they'll go easy on the new guy.
All I can say is good luck with that mindset, because everybody's got their eyes on the grand prize. 100 million buckaroos is one hell of a way to motivate people.
Yeah, just trying to imagine having that amount of money is enough to make my head spin.
Ain't that the truth? The Poker All-Stars Legends is already the most high-stakes poker tournament in existence, but this year, the grand prize is the biggest we've ever had in the history of the tournament. You see, we're celebrating the tournament's 10th anniversary, so in addition to the money from sponsors, we've had many donations from all around the world. And since the entire showdown is broadcast live, companies are fighting tooth and nail to land themselves a sponsor spot. Why else did y'all think we have this pink varmint plastered all over the place?
You mean Pinky Rabbit?
Exactly. You can thank the good folks at the Gatewater Group for that. They recently bought the rights to that show, rebooted the entire shebang, and now they're taking every opportunity to shill the up-and-coming movie to the masses.
Pinky Rabbit is getting a movie? I mean, sure, why not? But there's something to be said about advertising a kids' movie at a casino.
Well, old Pinky ain't so innocent no more, Paulo. I heard the new flick's gonna be super dark and ultra-violent in order to appeal to a wider audience. They even shoehorned in the Gatewater Badgers as the bad guys.
Not the Badgers! Those guys are adorable!
Did the world really need a grim and gritty reboot of Pinky Rabbit of all things?
Beats me. But the people at Gatewater are paying the lion's share of the prize pot, so they call the shots.
I think that's about all the questions I had for now.
Alright then. Suppose I ought to get back to work myself. Would love to catch up some more, but I ought to get back to work before the boss man gets on my case.
Porter?
Shoot.
I'm not paying you to flap your jaw. I gave you very specific orders to follow, and I expect you to carry them out exactly as I decreed.
Who on earth is this guy?
Oh, fancy seeing you down here, boss.
Can it, Porter? Your job description doesn't include fraternizing with vagrants. Throw that bum out of my casino or I'll have you replaced by someone who's not afraid to handle the unwashed masses. We can't have the homeless loitering here and disturbing our clientele a mere day before the big game. Especially with all the media present. We have a reputation to upkeep.
A homeless bum? I'll have to object to that notion.
Boss, with all due respect, I'm doing my job right now. This bum happens to be one of the players. You know, the local underdog we found for you?
Him? Surely you jest. Who's he again? The champ of the local homeless shelter?
Hey! My father has been undefeated for 7 years.
Oh, how precious. The fool travels with his own little minstrel. But if you think that a 7-year win record against nobodies will impress me, then clearly you have no idea who I am. Allow me to bestow you with the wholly undeserved honor of introducing myself. I am Rex House, the king of poker, and this casino is my palace. I've been playing against the best of the best for nearly 10 years, and I've never lost a game. This time will be no different.
We'll see about that. I've been told I play a mean hand.
Ha! Don't forget your place. You are just some no-name joker, purely here to entertain the peasantry. You'll dance for the crowd for a moment, and they'll laugh at you when you inevitably fall on your face. That's your sole purpose here.
Actually, my name is Phoenix Wright, and if you doubt my skill, Mr. House, I'll play a round of cards with you right now.
Oh, my dear Joker, you do make me laugh. You're in my kingdom now. And as I said, I don't waste my time playing no-names. If you wish to challenge the king, then you have to go through the rest of the deck first. So, I look forward to playing against you. Never.
The deck?
Was that a serious question? Who is this guy?
My name is Apollo.
That was a rhetorical question, kid. You're clearly out of your league, and I've already wasted enough of my valuable time on you.
I barely had a chance to open my mouth!
Porter, remember your orders and do not get distracted again. And make sure the Joker doesn't go stealing from the food court's dumpster.
Sure thing, boss man.
Good. I have places to be and people to meet. People with actual significance. Just remember, Porter.
And he's gone. Sorry about that, folks.
That man sure was the spitting image of hospitality.
Who does he think he is?
Usually compensating for their lack of real confidence. Or it could...
It's true, though. Mr. House has been the champ of the All-Stars Legends tournament throughout its entire history.
And I'm not old enough to. In public, at least. I prefer using cards for tricks anyway.
That's alright, because the competition rules state that y'all are banned from gambling on the casino floor. Can't have the pros clean out the coffers, you know? The only exception to that would be the charity poker tournament we're having tonight. But the seats are long since sold out. Luckily, there's plenty of other things to do. Food and drink, your guesses at the check-in afterwards.
Seems like these people really have cash to burn with all these huge prizes being handed around.
Anywho, this handy little brochure here can help give y'all some more ideas.
Thanks, Jack. Much obliged.
Try not to overdo it. We want Nikki sharp as nails for the big game. Remember, the entire poker world will be watching. But first things first, name, that's also where the tournament's gonna be held. The only way to get up is the VIP elevator here in the lobby, and that requires your key card to work. So make sure you don't lose them. Here's one for Nikki, one for...
Thanks, Mr. Porter. I guess we'll go unpack and figure out our next move for tonight.
No problemo. If you're open to suggestions, you might want to attend the traditional welcoming cocktail, and we'll be starting as soon as all the contestants have shown up.
Well, you won't catch me saying no to free drinks.
Sorry, folks. Gotta take this one. Porter here. Did you spot him coming? Uh-huh. All right. Well, looks like our guest of honor has arrived after all. You might want...
See you around, Jack.
Ooh, I wonder what's happening.
I suppose we're about to find out. There's a crowd gathering by the door.
They're here! Oh my god, it's really them! Where's my camera?
I can't believe they're actually here!
Wow.
The masked stranger is here. The rumors were true.
Okay, everybody make way for security. Security coming through. Gotta get to the VIP.
Greetings. Never shall I refer to myself as anything else, for I am not a stranger to myself. Seek the key to my quarters, as I am weary and must rest before the great challenge ahead.
Of course. You'll be staying on the tournament floor. Here is your key. You use the VIP elevator here in the lobby to get up there.
That does not interest me. I am here to play cards, nothing more.
The key. Sure, here you go. You know the drill. Cocktails are at the usual time and place. Is there a problem, Mr. Rockwell?
My room! Change it!
Sorry, I'm afraid I can't do that. The management was very particular about where each contestant should be staying. Besides, they're all identical rooms, so there ought to be no problems.
Whatever. I'm gone.
And I shall accompany him upstairs. Farewell for now, Mr. Porter.
All right. Everyone, move out of the way. We've got VIPs coming through. Disperse.
These poker legends sure seem like an odd bunch.
To be fair, they don't seem what sort of person hides behind those cold, glowing eyes.
I guess every profession has its share of quirky people.
I don't know, Polly. One of those two seemed to be more machine than man.
Oh, for all anyone knows, they could be. There's a reason people only call them the Masked Stranger. The only thing that is certain is that the Masked Stranger is unbeatable at the poker table.
Oh.
Yes. Forgive me for butting in. Mr. Fitzroy, at your service. I'm a regular patron here and consider myself somewhat of a poker aficionado. I happened to overhear you youngsters and couldn't help myself. Please forgive my intrusion.
So, I guess this Masked Stranger character will be playing in the Poker All-Stars Legends tournament then?
Yes, it would seem so, since they have the Masked Stranger. It's quite an unpredictable figure. They never let anyone know where and when they will be, in case the stranger should wish to make an appearance.
Even the
public plea from the tournament organizers for the Masked Stranger to join. But the Masked Stranger has answered the call. Indeed, the stranger is very secretive. They have never been seen in public outside poker tournaments, nor have they ever given a single interview. Even the name Masked Stranger was something that was entirely made up by their fans. Ever since the stranger's first appearance many years ago, they have played in dozens of poker tournaments around the world and have so far been undefeated. Which means that now we are likely to see two undefeated poker legends playing against each other for the first time in history.
I can see why the crowd would be excited about that.
But if nobody...
A secret signature? Oh, I wonder what it might be.
Either way, it's going to be interesting to see how the stranger fares against the elite members of the deck.
The deck? I think Mr. House mentioned that earlier.
Oh, I suppose you youngsters wouldn't know. The deck is the most exclusive poker club in the world. Membership is reserved only for weapons. All four of the deck's elite members or royalty will be playing in the tournament tomorrow.
Huh. Only four? Quite the small number.
Indeed. In the past, the deck had a significantly larger pool of members, but alas, nothing lasts forever. I've understood the organizers are bringing in outside talent to fill the seats because of this.
I don't know. 4 seems like just the right amount of people for an elite group to have. Sounds like you're gonna have some tough competition, Daddy.
Am I to understand that you are one of the participants? I see. Then you must be Phoenix Wright, the Joker of Borscht Bowl Club.
Is that the name they came up with? Well, I suppose I'm guilty as charged.
It's truly an honor to meet you. Allow me to wish you the best of luck, Mr. Wright. I've heard a lot of bettors' hopes and dreams are riding on your victory.
Now you've got me interested. What are our odds?
Not to demoralize you, but let's say that if Mr. Wright wins, whoever bet on him is going to be very, very rich.
So much for people rooting for the underdogs.
In any case, I do not wish to hold you up any longer.
Thank you for your help. It was nice meeting you, Mr. Fitzroy.
Likewise. I look forward to watching you play. Again, best of luck to you.
Well, I suppose it's high time we go and set down our luggage.
Yeah, come on. Let's go check out our room.
Okay, everyone. This is where we'll be staying for the next few days. Hunker down.
Whoa! This room is ginormous! It might even be bigger than the agency!
Yep. And it even comes with separate bedrooms for each of us. Frankly, I could get used to living like this.
Maybe we can after the big game! Right, Polly? Polly? Polly! Why are you staring at the door?
Huh? Oh, I'm just checking out the evacuation plan. It always pays to be prepared, right?
I mean, I guess.
Safety first, remember? I ought to memorize the map here, just in case. Looks like we passed the tournament room on our way here. It's located right in the middle of this floor.
We ought to head there soon for the cocktail party.
Yes, it would be a shame to miss the free drinks.
Agreed. I'm starting to feel quite parched myself.
Okay then. Now that Apollo's got us safe and secure, it's time to go see what kind of people we'll be going up against tomorrow.
Finally! We've been waiting for y'all to show up.
Sorry, Jack. I had to apply my cologne just right.
Well, the important thing is that you made it. Go on, grab a drink of sparkly grape juice and chill.
Thanks, Mr. Porter. Although, I prefer water, personally. I've had bad experiences with grape juice.
That's so, Apollo? Well, knock yourself out with some top-quality H2O then.
So, this is where we're going to be playing?
Yep. The tournament room here has been the stage for the showdown throughout the history of the Poker All-Stars Legends Tournament.
I see that everything has already been set up for the live broadcast.
Yep. All that stuff was set up weeks ahead to make sure everything was ready to go on the big day. And over there is the very table where all the magic happens. That table has been at the center of it all for the past 9 years. You see, we don't normally use actual physical cards for the tourney. All the dealing is done by a computer. That means no marked decks and no crooked dealers shuffling the cards in anyone's favor, which is pretty important when you're playing for the kind of money we do.
But couldn't you just rig the computer itself?
Excellent question, darling. Each year, the table is rigorously tested by independent experts for bias before the tourney. And each year, it has passed this inspection. You can say that the system is as fair as it gets.
It's a bit of a shame, though. Nothing beats the feeling of actually holding the winning cards.
And I don't think people would find card tricks as impressive if they were done on a computer.
True enough, but I don't make the rules. Although this year we might have to bend them a little.
Oh?
You see, the Masked Stranger had a certain condition for joining the tournament, and that was to be able to play using actual physical cards.
But doesn't that go against what you just said?
Sort of, but it was either that or not have the stranger. So, physical cards it is for everyone this year. Machine shuffled, of course, to keep in line with the laws of the land.
And what laws are those?
You're the lawyer, Apollo. Shouldn't you know?
Gambling Law 101 was an elective course, okay?
Piqued your interest, Apollo? There's a set of laws covered by the Japanifornia Gambling Act that the organizers have to abide by. There's an interesting story behind it, actually. But it's kinda long, so I'll tell you all about it later.
That's right. Long story short, the casino's gotta take extreme measures to prevent any and all cheating, or we're toast. For example, the tournament room has to be entirely soundproofed when the doors are closed to prevent any communication from outsiders. With a pot as big as ours, we need to cross every T and dot every I to not have the entire operation shut down. Speaking of which, if you take a gander over there, you can let your eyes take in the sight of $100 million in cash. And before you ask, yes, all the dough is real. So don't go spilling your drink on it.
Jeez, and here I thought giant checks were egregious.
We usually go for the giant check shtick. But this year, the boss man insisted that we lay out every single dime for the world to gawk at, as some sort of a publicity stunt.
This feels like a setup to one of those heist movies.
I agree. With the cash exposed like that, we're painting a big old target on ourselves. Naturally, the security has been beefed up accordingly. We have limited the amount of people who have access to the tournament floor to the bare minimum, and the passcode to the tournament room itself is known only to House and I. And with 8 numbers to put it, you'd sooner win the lottery than blindly guess your way in. On top of that, the tournament room is under constant camera surveillance. Want to guess who's the lucky sob whose job it is to stare at the wads of cash all night?
Sorry to hear that, Jack. It's just you then?
Yeah. The feed from here is sent to a monitor in my office only. Believe me, I'd love to have someone else cover for me, but House insisted that I'm the only person he can trust on this. So, looks like I'll be spending my New Year staring at a screen with a big cup of joe.
That sounds deathly boring.
Don't you worry about that. Ain't nothing I ain't done before. Anywho, don't let me talk your ears off. Feel free to take a look around and socialize with the competition. That's why we're having the party in the first place.
State your names and business.
He didn't even bother to look up from his phone.
Their practical applications, we have nothing to talk about. Unless, of course, one of you happens to be the masked stranger, which I doubt is the case. The chances of me being beaten by a newbie approach 0. In addition, the red-vested fellow in particular looks like they can't bluff to save their life.
Hey! Is he gonna start smoking indoors?
Oh, this conversation is pointless. In case you've not read the hot—
Oh, I'm sorry, but I can't help but to admire your nice lighter.
Nice. I'll have you know, this lighter here is objectively above nice. Custom made and unique. It's solid gold and engraved with my initials by a master goldsmith. Cost a small fortune.
Wow, this guy can't even take a compliment.
Must we?
Oh, how about you tell us something more about yourself?
Why? I'm not the least bit interested in you.
Hello, Hector. Looks like you found some friends.
Fashionably late, as always, aren't you? Do me a favor.
Yes, I think it might be best if they left you alone for now, huh?
I'm inclined to agree.
Good. That's 100% of the nuisances taken care of at once. Now leave me be.
Oh, you, Hector. You really should try to broaden your social circles. You know, don't take him the wrong way. He's always been a bit of a curmudgeon.
At least she seems much nicer. Wait, is that a Pinky Rabbit plush? At least we'll have something to talk about.
So, let's get started. Hello there. Welcome to the party. I don't think we've had the pleasure. I guess that means one of you must be our visiting star. How exciting.
That would be me, miss. Phoenix Wright. I play cards and sometimes the piano. I'm pretty infamous for one of them.
He could be referring to either one, to be honest.
Enchanté, Mr. Wright. My name is Felicia Garnett, but I'm better known as the world-famous singer, dancer, and poker player, Lady Luck.
Nice to meet you too, Miss Garnett.
And who might you two be?
I'm Trucy Wright, magician extraordinaire and Mr. Wright's daughter. Always nice to meet a fellow performer.
And I'm Apollo Justice, defense attorney. I just work for Mr. Wright. It's nice to meet you too, Miss Garnett.
Fantastic. It's so wonderful to meet you all. Oh, and you can call me Felicia. Or Lucky, if that's what you prefer. All my fans do that.
Sure thing, Lucky.
Have you all been enjoying your time at the casino?
It's been pretty good so far. I don't think we've ever been to a place as nice as this before.
It really blows your mind, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's so many things to do, I wouldn't know where to start.
Oh, perhaps I can help you out with that. Did you know that they are holding a charity poker tournament tonight? It'll be starting shortly at noon.
Well, we heard about it, but haven't really had the time to look into the details yet.
Oh, I see. The tournament is called Pinky Rabbit's Tiny Tourney. The whole prize pot goes towards funding either a rabbit or a badger conservatory. The winner of the tournament gets to decide which one.
The Gatewater Group really is taking every opportunity to advertise their new movie, isn't it?
Maybe so, but hey, at least it's for a good cause.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that you're on Team Rabbit.
Oh, did Mr. Pinky here give it away?
Hello, my name is Pinky Rabbit.
Aw, he's so cute!
Isn't he just? I've been a huge fan of Pinky Rabbit since I was a little girl. In fact, I like to say that he's the secret behind my success. You see, Mr. Pinky here is my lucky mascot, and has been so from the time I played my first hand. I never ever play without him.
A lucky mascot for Lucky, huh? I guess it makes sense. I can sort of relate. I could never imagine setting foot in a courtroom without my bracelet and badge.
You must really love the Pinky Rabbit show.
What can I say? I'm a hardcore Pinky fan to this day, despite the unfortunate changes in the newest version.
I know, right? You should respect a classic character like Pinky.
Ah, I see I am in the company of a man with refined tastes. How refreshing.
A new face can be a new friend.
Mr. Justice, was it? Are you planning on joining the charity tournament?
Sounds like it could be fun, but we were told that all the seats are sold out.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty popular event.
I suppose part of the draw is that you get to play with us pros. Mr. Rockwell and I are going to be participating at least. But lucky for you, I just happen to have an extra ticket that I can part with. If one of you would like to join us, that is.
The more the merrier.
You said it was at noon, right? The brochure says the magic show is on at the same time. Personally, I'd rather go see that.
The ticket is all yours if you want it, Apollo. I'll be saving my poker brain for the big game tomorrow. Besides, you're clearly more invested on the outcome of the tournament.
Well, I don't really play poker, but I could give it a shot.
Here's your ticket. It's good to have more of the Pinky Patrol as backup. As for other events, I warmly welcome all of you to come see tonight's Midnight Jazz Show.
It's for your own good, Trucy. Can't have your young, impressionable mind get tainted by such vices.
Floor, you've got the best seats in the house.
Hey, I'm almost 17.
Whatever you say, Cece.
Not you.
Now. Settle down, kids. You'll give the nice lady a bad impression.
There's really no need to speak of kids, seeing as I am only 24 myself.
Wow, it's pretty impressive that you've become a poker legend at such a young age. Your parents must be proud.
I didn't really know my parents, but whenever—
Oh, I'm sorry to have brought it up.
It's fine. I've been playing poker since I was but a little girl, so I've had plenty of practice. My love for the cards is only matched by my love for smooth jazz and Pinky Rabbit. But I suppose that in the end, becoming a part of the deck's royalty did take a lot of skill, and just a sprinkle of luck.
Figures Lucky is one of that fancy poker club's elite members. Didn't Mr. Fitzroy say that all of the royalty were playing in tomorrow's tournament?
Speaking of the deck, who are the other royalty?
There's 4 of us in total at the moment, counting myself. There used to be more, but— well, that's not really relevant. Let me just answer your question. Over there in the corner, you can see Mr. Hector Nash. As you probably noticed, he's not very sociable, but he's a brilliant man and a veteran of the All-Star Legends tournament. His play style is that of self-dubbed, evidence-based gambling. That is to say, he relies on statistics, probabilities, and an incredible memory to come out on top. He's also known as the Absolute Math Man. He was the one I managed to beat in order to become part of the royalty.
He sounds like a tough opponent.
He was. It all came down to a single risky showdown. All the odds were in his favor, but my luck won me the day. I think he may still be a little bitter about that.
Nobody likes a sore loser.
Then, over there, we have Mr. Flint Rockwell, who I believe I mentioned is going to also be playing in the charity tournament. Mr. Rockwell is best known for his unflinching demeanor, iron will, and absolute zen in any and every situation. His poker face is truly legendary. Since you can never tell what he's thinking or feeling, he ends up surprising his opponents at every turn. Unfortunately, that same demeanor makes him, well, a man of few words. It's rumored he gained this ability by training in a remote monastery in his homeland of Virginia.
Seems pretty accurate from what we've seen so far.
Finally, there's Mr. House, the self-proclaimed king of the deck and the tournament champion for nearly 10 years now. Let's just say I look forward to teaching him some humility.
We, met him already. He didn't seem to be the most agreeable person.
Yeah, he may be the champion, but with that attitude, I'd say it's high time somebody dethroned him.
Boys are no good.
That's a bit of a dramatic way of putting it.
It's the official term, actually. You see, the winner of the All-Stars Legends tournament also becomes the leader of the deck. For the past years, that title has been held by House.
At least it's better than Regicide.
But wait, what happens if Daddy or the Masked Stranger wins? Neither of them are part of the deck after all.
Then they're simply invited to join. The winner automatically becomes the new leader of the deck, if they want to. I think that's about it for what I have to tell about the deck's royalty, without going into gossip territory.
Gossip?
Thanks, Lucky. You've been really helpful.
Yeah, but isn't there someone else we're forgetting?
Oh, yes, the Masked Stranger. Is there anything you can tell us about them?
The stranger is a curious character for sure. Frankly, I was doubtful they even existed before I saw them with my own 2 eyes. But their win streak speaks for itself. I don't really know anything about them for certain, other than the usual legends and rumors.
Guess we'll just find out the rest tomorrow. A lot could be construed from how one plays the cards.
Indeed. I look forward to seeing what I can learn about you as well, Mr. Wright.
Hail to the king, everyone!
Oh, great. Our benevolent monarch makes his appearance.
Now that the magnificent Rex House has finally arrived, we can begin with the formalities of this banquet. Ladies and gentlemen, and those of you who our sponsors forced us to invite, allow me to welcome you to the annual Poker All-Stars Legends pre-tournament cocktail party. It's a pleasure to see that all of our participants could make it.
Boss, I should point out that the Masked Stranger is not here with us.
Yes, it looks like our so-called guest of honor has decided not to grace us with their presence tonight. What a shame. Perhaps they're being shy. Or perhaps they're terrified of facing the unbeatable Rex House. It doesn't really matter, because tonight we're celebrating the real poker legends. Not some shooting star that would burn away in the blink of an eye and soon be forgotten. So, without further ado, let's give a big hand to all of our legends. First, a round of applause to me, Rex House, your benevolent leader, champion and the undefeated king of the deck. Come now, could your peons muster a bit more enthusiasm? I know it must be hard since you know you're going to lose, but I'm not asking for the world here. Whatever, I suppose we'll move on to the rest of you. Give a hand to Mr. Hector Nash, the ace analyst and self-professed master of probabilities. Sorry to say, Hector, but no matter how much you count, your chance to win remains at 0%, just like all the years before.
We'll see about that, won't we?
Next up, Mr. Flint Rockwell, the unflinching mountain. A man with nerves of steel and a face of stone. Good thing you're able to hide your every reaction and tell. I would really hate to see the look on your face when you end up losing. Oh, who am I kidding? I'd love to see that. Moving on, let's give a round of applause to our rising starlet and first-timer at the tournament, Felicia Lady Luck Garnet. You may have been able to use your luck to beat old Hector against impossible odds, but no matter what trinkets you bring to the table, luck isn't going to win you the day this time.
Then I'll just have to use pure skill, won't I? I look forward to our duel, Rex.
And I look forward to winning once again. Don't forget that no matter who taught you how to play, nobody's ever beaten Rex House. Nobody. So you should tread carefully, Garnet, or you might find your rabbit won't be saving you. And as for the rest of you, you filthy peasants aren't even worth mentioning, since you're just here to lose anyway. Enjoy the luxury whilst you can. Soon you'll be sent back to the slums from whence you came.
Guess that means we'll be trying out the room service while we can. I wonder how the grape juice rates here.
Do what you like, but know that your petty gluttony won't even make the tiniest dent in my vast coffers.
In that case, we'll be sure to enjoy your hospitality to our heart's content, Mr. House.
Ha! Such boorish behavior is to be expected from a mere joker. Getting back on track with things that matter, since we are celebrating 10 years of this fine tournament, our sponsors and donors have generously provided us with a record-breaking grand prize of $100 million. Just imagine! All of this money could be yours! But let's be realistic for a moment. Since you all know that's not going to happen, still, do try and put up a good show for the cameras. The whole world will be watching your pointless struggle after all. And wouldn't it be tragic to let the fans down?
Jeez, this guy loves the sound of his own voice way too much.
Of course, you won't be leaving completely empty-handed. Each of you contestants will be going home with your very own commemorative house duffel bag. High-quality handiwork, straight from Sheng Fa. And the gifts don't end there. Our good friends at the Gatewater Group have prepared us an exclusive screening of the trailer of their new multi-million summer blockbuster, Pinky Rabbit vs. the Bad Badger, which I am contractually obligated to force all of you to watch. So enjoy, or don't. I don't really care. Damn sponsors, making me see through this crap.
You know what? I'm gonna give this movie a chance. An open mind never hurt anyone, right?
Who knows? It might be a hidden gem.
Porter, throw the clip.
Whatever you say, boss.
In a world where only the fittest survive, where your life is no longer your own, one rabbit will embark on a journey for vengeance.
I've kept on running, but I can't do it anymore. They took everything from me. My family, my daughter, and they left me to die. I no longer choose to be prey, but a predator.
A hero will rise.
It's time to take matters into my own paws.
An empire will fall.
Who the hell are you?
The name's Pinky, and it's my job to make sure every single one of you badger bastards faces extinction!
From Global Studios comes a story.
It's just one rabbit! How hard can it be to take him out?
He's no rabbit, sir. He's a monster.
Of a rabbit who will stop at nothing.
Kill him! Kill him!
Until he completes his mission.
So, we meet again, Mr. Pinky. And this time, I will make sure to finish the job.
Do your worst, Bad Badger. I'll show you who's really at the top of the food chain.
Coming this summer, Pinky versus the Bad Badger. Rated G for gore.
Natural selection, scumbag!
My God! What have they done to Pinky Rabbit?
So much blood. I could hardly see what was going on the screen at times. Although, maybe that's for the best.
Well, I'm sold. I'm taking both of you to see that movie with me.
Daddy, that's not funny. I'm having serious doubts about pulling rabbits out of my hat ever again.
That thing was not Pinky Rabbit. They've ruined my childhood. Dude, there's got to be a law against that.
Fighting is not the answer.
Somebody help!
Huh?
Mr. Porter!
What happened?
I don't know. He just collapsed.
Unbelievable. I knew Porter was a softie, but this takes the whole pot.
Dead? He's not dead, you lunk. Step aside. Let me have a look. Well, the guy's still breathing just fine. Can't see blood anywhere either, so he probably just fainted. Hey, you! Wake up! Nap time's over.
What happened?
You tell us. 1 minute you're watching CGI badgers in a meat grinder, and moments later you're taking a nap on the floor.
Oh yeah. I didn't expect it to be so gory. My bad giving you all a scare like that. I'm not that good with blood.
Well, that much is obvious. So, yeah, you're welcome or something.
Porter, how much of a wimp are you? Honestly. A bit of blood and you fold like a bad hand.
Everyone has a weak spot somewhere. Even you, House.
That's boss to you, Porter. So mind your tongue when addressing me. Even so, I don't go announcing my so-called weakness to the world every chance I get, as all of you are well aware. Regardless, now that the PR crisis has been averted, I'm off to my quarters. Farewell, and good luck tomorrow. Porter, remove the riffraff from the room and get to work. If anything happens to the money.
Yeah, loud and clear. Suppose that's one way to end a cocktail party.
Let's put that screen away before that happens again.
Alright, everybody out. Gotta lock up the tournament room. Remember to take your duffel bags with you. Oh, and make sure you check the letter on the bag to get the right one.
Don't want it. Bye.
About time. I've got better things to do. House can shove that bag where the sun doesn't shine as far as I'm concerned.
Jeez, these things are proving to be a hard sale.
I'll take one. Say, what's going to happen to the unclaimed bags?
I'll probably dump them out back. Frankly, it's no surprise that there's a lack of demand for such a quality product.
I don't suppose you mind if I take 2 bags, then? A girl can never have too much space to carry her belongings in.
Knock yourself out. House wants to see these things gone either way.
Don't mind if I do. Alright, guess I'll be seeing you at the tiny tourney, Mr. Justice. Don't be late.
I'll be there soon.
Nikki, you'll take one of these things off my hands, right?
Sure. There's W. So this swag bag is mine. Well, the quality is certainly something.
Who in their right mind put zippers on both the top and the bottom of a duffel bag?
That is House's innovation for you. Never seem to have a knack for good business ideas. Anyway, you should be going. I need to lock up the room.
Are you sure you'll manage, Jack? That looked like a nasty fall.
Believe me, Nikki, there have been worse places I've taken a dive in, but I appreciate the concern. For now, I've got to haul my rear to the security room and start staring at the pile of dough.
Okay, we should get going too. Lots of things to see and do.
Speaking of which, the Tiny Tourney and the Magic Show are going to be starting soon.
Let's hope they'll put a good show for us. I'm very particular when it comes to magic.
Let's meet up in our room afterwards, alright?
Sounds like a plan. I'll be seeing you later then. If you'll excuse me, I've got a tournament to attend. Phew, managed to get here just in the nick of time.
Hey there, Mr. Justice. I'm glad to see you could make it.
You can always trust a real friend.
I did promise to come, didn't I? Although, I have to admit, it's my first time playing poker competitively, so I'm feeling a bit nervous. And I don't think the Courts of Steel can help me this time.
That's perfectly understandable. Let me just give you a little tip. If you have a good feeling about something, then trust your instincts, and vice versa. You're an attorney, are you not? Then you're an expert on calling bluffs. Just think of the card table as your personal courtroom.
So, a place where the judge and prosecutor team up to make me miserable? I'd rather not think about that during my holiday.
Just remember, it's for charity. So don't sweat about winning and just enjoy the game.
Having fun's the plan!
Thanks, I will.
Anyway, I'd love to stay and chat a little longer, but alas, I need to start preparing for the game. Have fun, Mr. Justice. And remember that you have beginner's luck on your side.
Thanks! Good luck to you too.
Well, there she goes.
You're one of Mr. Wright's cohorts, aren't you? Mr. Justice, was it?
Yeah, that's me. Hello again, Mr. Fitzroy. Are you taking part of the Tiny Tourney as well?
That was my plan, yes. Many poker fans like myself can't help but wonder how they'd fare against the world's top players, so when a rare opportunity like this arises, well, one simply must take it.
Contestants, please take your seats.
Oh dear. It looks like we have to cut our chat short. Good luck out there, Mr. Justice.
You too, Mr. Fitzroy. All right, let's see how this goes. Here comes justice! Following Lucky's advice, and with a little help from my bracelet, I somehow managed to win my way from one table to the next. Until I found myself sitting at the final table with Miss Garnet, Mr. Rockwell, and Mr. Fitzroy.
All right, everyone, we're down to the final four. Are you ready to begin?
In a moment, I'll have to consult Mr. Pinky first.
Always believe in yourself! Ha ha ha!
However, something seemed off with Mr. Rockwell.
Mr. Rockwell? Are you all right?
Cheater. You're a cheater, Felicia Garnet!
Huh?
A dirty cheater! And I refuse to play against you!
Mr. Rockwell, wait! Come back!
Cheaters never prosper!
Ah! Stay away from me!
Wait! You two just can't leave like that! You'll forfeit the game!
It's too late, I'm afraid. They are both long gone.
What on earth just happened?
And here I thought I'd get to play against the legends. But instead, I am treated with this farce. My reasons for partaking in this tournament just left the table, so I am following suit. No offense to you, Mr. Justice, but I officially forfeit. If you'll excuse me.
Well then, what happens now?
Seeing as we've got no more contestants left, everyone, give a big hand to Mr. Justice. Congratulations on winning the tournament.
Wow, this is without a doubt the most awkward win I've ever experienced. I better get out of here and lay low for a while. I'm plain embarrassed to be here right now.
Hey, Polly! You sure took your time.
Hello, you two. How was the magic show?
Pretty good. Of course, nothing compares to Trucy's magic.
I'll give full marks for the showmanship, but the technical aspects could have used some more work.
And how'd you do in the tournament? Have you become my worthy successor in the fine art of poker?
Well, I won, but not under the best circumstances.
Ooh, congratulations! But what do you mean with not under the best circumstances?
Believe it or not, Mr. Rockwell just stormed off with Miss Garnet in pursuit just before the finals.
How strange. I thought Lucky said Mr. Rockwell was known for his legendary zen.
Yes, a hardened poker veteran almost never flinches, let alone outright abandons the table before even a single hand is dealt.
Guess that's a mystery for another time. But the most important question remains. Did you donate the money to Team Rabbit or Team Badger?
I gave each of them a half. I'm having a hard time getting 100% behind Pinky after that trailer.
So, the battle keeps raging on.
Suppose so. Speaking of mysteries, is that the duffel bag you got from the cocktail party there in the corner?
Yep, that's the one. Handmade and high quality, as you can see. It even has my initial on it. Sort of.
So it's basically mass-produced junk, but with a W slapped on it?
Remember, Apollo, the thought behind the gift is most important.
It certainly aptly reflects how Mr. House seems to view us.
Besides, I'm planning to use it to haul all the grape juice I intend to buy. My reserves are getting a bit low. House did say I could order freely on his dime, after all.
I'm not sure that's how you were supposed to understand it.
Well, as I always say, a good lawyer always looks for loopholes.
That's literally the first time I've ever heard you say that.
Anyway, it's time for our next move.
I've got my hands full, at least. Trucy and I bumped into Miss Garnet earlier, and she asked me to take part in the Jazzstravaganza rehearsal. Apparently, their regular pianist is suffering the after effects of eating a house steak, and she wanted to see if I could accompany her practice performance with the piano.
Uh-oh. Surely he wouldn't.
Naturally, I told her no. But she kept insisting, so guess I'm gonna be tickling the ivories for her.
Yeah! Knock him dead, Daddy!
I'm afraid of his piano skills, he just might.
I'll be staying to watch the show later, but you two go on ahead and enjoy the fireworks. Regardless, can't really play a good piano ensemble on an empty stomach. The siren song of the food court beckons to me.
Then we know where to head to next.
All right, time for some well-deserved grub. We ended up having a nice dinner, making sure to avoid the steaks. Afterwards, we spent a rather fun day exploring what the casino had to offer. Trucy even ended up performing an impromptu card trick show for the casino patrons. Before we knew it, it was already near midnight. Mr. Wright had left to attend the Midnight Jazzstravaganza. Meanwhile, Trucy and I had returned to the room to kill time while waiting for the fireworks spectacular to start. Whew, what a day! I can safely say that Eldoon's got nothing on this.
Yeah, it's been fun. Can't wait to see what tomorrow brings.
Well, well, looks like you're both still up.
Daddy? Why are you back so early? Weren't you going to watch the show?
There's an intermission at the Jazzstravaganza. The show was great, but I was getting really tired, so I figured I'd get some sleep instead. Gotta get some rest before the tournament, after all.
That's what you get for sipping grape juice all day long.
Speaking of which, where's your bag? You didn't forget about it, did you?
It's in a safe place along with the grape juice. But thanks for the concern. Either way, weren't you two going to go check out the fireworks?
All right. It's almost time for the show, isn't it? We should head to the balcony before it starts.
There's no way I'm missing that. Let's get going.
Good night. Don't stay up too long now.
We are just in time. The show should be beginning any moment now.
Looks like we're the only ones here. If we don't count that weird contraption over there.
It looks quite intricate. No idea what it does, though. We should probably leave it alone and just enjoy the view. And what a view it is! You can see the entire city from here!
And the Angel River flowing free! It's so pretty! Lucky wasn't kidding when she said these were the best seats in the house. It's starting!
Wow! Now this is what I call a fireworks show!
And that's just the prelude! Once it reaches midnight, they'll go all out.
Just a few more seconds. 3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year! So, any New Year's resolutions, Polly?
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head, but hey, there's still time. How about you?
I'm sure I'll think of something. For example, I could...
Bless you. You feeling okay there, Trucy?
Yeah, just a little cold. In all the rush, I forgot to grab my jacket.
Oh, why don't I go get it for you?
You don't have to. I don't want you to miss the big finale.
Nonsense! The last thing we need is for you to start the new year off with a cold. I'll be back in just a moment.
Thanks, Polly. I really appreciate it.
Alright, just a quick trip to our room and back. Why is the tournament room door open? Wait, is that the masked stranger? And what's that smell? What the? Ah! Fire! Fire! I have to do something! Where's the fire alarm? There it is! Why is it not working? Oh man! Time for plan B! With no other option, I picked up the nearby fire extinguisher and rushed inside to try and fight the flames. After what seemed like an eternity, I managed to extinguish the blaze and finally get a better look at the scene. Isn't that Mr. Porter? The masked stranger and Mr. Porter both lay on the floor motionless, and I saw a gun on the floor right next to Mr. Porter. And that's when it struck me. Blood slowly dripping down the back of the stranger's mask. After the initial shock had passed, without realizing it, I was already checking Mr. Porter for signs of life. Oh, thank goodness! He's still breathing!
Ah! Polly, what's going on? I came looking for you and...
Trucy, there's no time to explain! You need to go get help right now! Mr. Porter's in pretty bad shape and the masked stranger is...
Say no more! Hang in there! I'll go get Daddy!
Mr. Porter's condition seems stable enough. As for the stranger, I'm afraid nothing can be done to help them. I should take a good look at the scene while I can. I'm sure the police will want to hear about what I've seen here. Huh? Oh, shoot, I stepped on something. What's this? A lighter? Well, it's not going to be starting any fires anytime soon. Looks like I broke it for good. There are also some small beads on the floor. I'm pretty sure they weren't there before. I'd better take a photo of the scene just in case, before I break anything else.
Polly! I can't find Daddy anywhere!
He's not in the room?
No! I looked everywhere!
What the hell is going on here? What are you two shouting about at this hour? Wait, why is the stranger... What have you done?
It wasn't us! I just found the scene myself!
Yeah, right. The police will be the judge of that.
Finally, about time we got up here. ABPD, nobody move!
Is that Detective Skye? Thank goodness you're here!
Mr. Justice, is that you? Well, isn't this a surprise? Long time no see. But regardless of our familiarity, I'm afraid that the orders apply to you as well.
Oh, for Pete's sake. What are the chances that the lawyer is in cahoots with the police?
Cool it, mister. We got a call about a possible homicide here at the casino. Guess we found what we came for.
Fine. You do whatever you people must. I'm staying out of this. Won't hear me say a peep.
Detective Skye! A friend of ours has been badly hurt!
Make way for the paramedics.
Don't worry, Miss Wright. Your friend will be in good hands. Seems we didn't have to wait long for the first murder case of the year.
Not only murder, but possibly arson too! I had to extinguish a huge blaze in this room just minutes ago!
Arson? That's weird. But it certainly looks and smells like it. Either way... Everyone! This area is now a crime scene. I'm sorry, but we will have to cordon off the entire floor. What the? You find a way to turn those sprinklers off. They're compromising the crime scene.
Yes, ma'am. But what about the fire alarm?
Evacuate the civilians. They'll need to be questioned regardless.
But Detective Sky, the elevator is out of commission during the fire alarm.
Then find a fire exit.
There should be one around the corner.
Ma'am, we found the exit, but the handle, it's missing. We can't get it open.
What? Well, call an airlift then and gather everyone up on this floor, quick.
Detective, we've completed the sweep of the floor.
Hey, what's the big idea? Why'd you drag me back out here?
Anyone else?
Nope, the floor is completely clear.
What? But Mr. Wright is still missing!
You can't leave Daddy here!
We checked everywhere. There's nobody else here.
Good. Now all of you follow this officer and do exactly as he says.
What? Are you serious? Oh, unbelievable.
We ended up having a police helicopter evacuate us from the tournament floor via the balcony. Joining us on the chopper was Mr. Hector Nash. Another helicopter took Mr. Porter and the paramedics to a nearby hospital. Meanwhile, despite vocal objections from Mr. Nash, all of us were taken directly to the police station for questioning. When my turn came, I told the police all about what I saw in as much detail as I could before they let me go. Trucy joined me a couple of minutes later. This was not quite what I had in mind for the holiday.
Tell me about it.
Trucy! Apollo! Are you alright?
Mr. Wright!
Daddy! Where were you? I was worried sick.
I'm so sorry. I forgot to pack toothpaste, so I went downstairs to buy some, and then the fire alarms went off. The entire casino was forced to evacuate. Rest assured, I looked everywhere for you two. Next thing I know, Detective Sky is calling to inform she has you two in questioning. I've been waiting here since. Good grief. What a way to start the new year. Oh, by the way, Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year, I guess.
Happy New Year, Daddy. Even if it feels awful to say so, considering what we just saw.
I can imagine. Word is someone killed the masked stranger.
Yeah, and Jack was injured too.
That's not good.
Hey there. I came to tell you that we are done with the initial investigation. This is all strictly off the record, of course. You're free to go now, but unfortunately, the tournament floor is off limits to everyone except the investigators. Lucky for you, the hotel has provided you all with emergency accommodation.
Emma, how is Mr. Porter?
I'm told that his condition is stable. He'll survive.
That's a relief.
No good news without a few bad ones in the mix. We believe Mr. Porter is our culprit, so visiting him at the hospital will not be possible. Additionally, his trial has already been scheduled for tomorrow.
That fast? The courts don't take days off, it seems.
And neither do forensics, as you can see. What's worse, a certain glimmerous fop will apparently be prosecuting. Not even a day into the new year, and I've already broken my resolution of trying to actively avoid him for as long as I can.
Clavier, I haven't seen him since the Juris System trial. Do you know if Mr. Porter has an attorney yet?
I see where you're going with this, Justice. The answer is no, but seeing as Mr. Porter is still unconscious, he can't request one. So until then, I want none of you snooping around the crime scene.
Unfortunately, she's right, Apollo. We just have to hope he regains consciousness before that.
But what if he doesn't?
His case will be handled by a public defender.
Against Clavier, there's only one way that can end.
I don't like it either, but at this point we just have to deal with the situation the best we can. First, we need to get some rest. We won't be any use to Jack if we can't stay awake later.
And then?
We do what we can. Start prepping his defense at the agency, and wait for him to call us.
Good luck with that. It's not much, but I hope I get to see you in court tomorrow.
Despite Mr. Wright's words, I had trouble sleeping. I couldn't get the scene inside the tournament room out of my head. Later that day, we met at the agency as per Mr. Wright's plan. The paperwork was finished promptly, and then we just waited. And kept waiting. For the entire day.
This is concerning. It's getting late.
Are you sure the phone is plugged in, Polly?
I'm sure. It's the 5th time you made me check. Damn it all! We finished all the paperwork hours ago! An entire day we could have spent investigating has passed us by because of a technicality. I'll get it! Right anything, agency. Justice speaking.
Hello? Is that you? I reckon I might be in a bit of a pickle.
Mr. Porter, how are you feeling?
Just swell, considering I woke up chained up to a hospital bed. I've no doggone clue what happened last night. All I know is the fact I'm going on trial for murder tomorrow. Looks like I'll be needing a lawyer. So, I guess I'm holding you to the promise you made, Paulo.
I can't say I know for sure what happened in that room, but from what I've seen, Mr. Porter just doesn't strike me as a killer. Consider it done.
Grand! Our time's running short, though. So, give my regards to Nikki and Cece, won't ya? See y'all tomorrow, I suppose.
Looks like we're in business, everyone!
In that case, I'd say Jack is going to be just fine. Right, Apollo?
It may be a bit late, but I believe I've arrived at my own New Year's resolution. I, Apollo Justice, promise that I will find a way to prove Mr. Porter's innocence in court!
Yeah, and I promise to help you every step of the way.
I guess I shouldn't have expected anything less. Jack's lucky to have you as his defense.
Once again, we're starting with little to go by, but that's never stopped us before. Even facing impossible odds, I will pursue the truth to the end, and I'm willing to put all my chips on not guilty. It's a brand new year, and the start of a new chapter for us all. And I will make sure it will be a good one. Ready or not, here comes justice!